Good morning, Martin. How are you?
Good, good. What's on the menu today for our essential readers?
Well, this week in What the Blog, we're bringing you two really interesting and thought-provoking articles, I might say, from sustainability.
Okay, so sustainability is like all climate change, our food security, mobility.
Smart cities, how we're developing.
Right. So this is for anybody, all those Greta fans out there, I would imagine.
Yes, people who want to know. So there was basically an article that was really on the realm of like science fiction,
Right.
and it is a bit controversial, but I think very interesting and cool. So there's this idea that we can shoot particles into the atmosphere to cool the planet.
Right.
It's like a kind of geoengineering.
Okay. That's a
So
new
we
word for
can,
me, geoengineering. Is that a new word for me, or is it a new word?
no, I mean, it exists. Like, it basically is like a deliberate intervention of the Earth's climate. So it's an interesting developing field. So the word exists, but maybe our knowledge of it is
I
new.
always worry about like things like that because it lets people off the hook, and kind of makes people think, oh well, there's some other thing we can shoot into the atmosphere, so we'll just keep driving our big gas guzzling cars and we'll keep
I
flying 100
know,
times a year. So
I
it's an
know.
interesting ethical thing. I mean, whilst I'm very happy to hear that there are some interventions that can be made from a tech or from an innovation perspective, I
Mhm.
do think that there's still a responsibility for everybody.
Of course. And look, this method, if it works, because it's like still like theoretical,
Okay.
it's like a band-aid, right? So basically the particles mimic a volcanic eruption. So aerosol particles are shot into the atmosphere and it creates a cooling like we've seen from past volcanic explosions. But
Cool though.
it's a temporary thing.
Right. Okay. So it's the emergency button when we really need it, rather than the
Yeah.
solution.
But
Okay.
we still don't even know the real risks because also shooting a bunch of stuff into the air, like, could cause a lot of other problems. So this is just an interesting idea, fun to think about.
Okay.
No idea if this is actually going to happen or if it's a viable solution.
I like that. Let's see what the readers think. Next, what do we have next?
Okay, the next one is actually, I feel, super important when we're talking about the concept of sustainability, and that is the difference between real climate policy and positive changes and greenwashing. So
Right.
we hear all the time in the news, like, oh, okay, we've achieved this, and we've lowered our emissions by X%. But this article talks about we really need to approach these articles with a healthy level of skepticism.
Right.
Like, are these green practices and achievements real, or are they to make us feel like safe and that we're fine and we can keep driving those gas guzzling cars?
Right. Because there was
And
an article that we're not going to talk about today, but that was related that I think we'll touch on maybe next week, was this idea that there's a whole bunch of mining that has to happen to make the next generation of batteries happen. We've got to pull a lot of stuff out of the ground still, from a raw material perspective. So mining is going to absolutely explode rather than actually dissipate. So we still have to pull a lot of stuff out of the ground to make the batteries happen. And that's something which, when you're thinking of fossil fuels, where the whole concept is leave it in the ground, there's a
yeah,
whole bunch of rare minerals that we need to pull out to make our cell phones work, to make our Tesla battery work. So it's always a balance, I think, and one has to pick you have to pick the lesser of the evils. So readers, tell us what you think. I love the second article. It sounds good to me. I mean, I think there's so much washing. There's and
yeah.
greenwashing is I think is a big issue.
It's also a trend. I mean, just to
Yeah,
put
right.
it in perspective for our readers, we have only had a 0.5, half of a percent cut in our emissions since 2010. If we are going to actually achieve anything by 2030, we need to cut by 45%. So all these great campaigns, like we've achieved this,
Right.
we should really be questioning it because we haven't achieved so much.
Good question. Let's hear what everybody has to say. Thanks, Isabella. See you later.
See you later.